Hi, this is Joe Thomas. What is the biggest civil rights movement in America today? The Second Amendment movement. Martin Luther King Jr. Day every year hosts the Virginia Citizens Defense League at the Virginia General Assembly. And this year, in honor of the new governor, they called it a No Queens rally. They invited me to speak. They didn't check my script, and then I brought up one of the strangest Second Amendment advocates, Karl Marx. Watch. Thank you, Philip. So, I work in what you would classically call the First Amendment world, but there is no First Amendment without the Second Amendment. Am I right? There was no talk radio in 1776, 250 years ago. We had people like Thomas Paine. We had the pamphleteers who were sharing their common sense. And you know what the British tried to do? They said, we can't stop them from writing, so we'll tax the paper that they write on. That'll show them. And that's right what these lawyer fellas are ready to fight, which are taxes on the bullets. They've decided that, oh, all right, we can't get the guns, so we'll tax your bullets. As if somehow a gun isn't an armament if it's not loaded. This is how crazy they've become, because we keep winning in court. And every time another legislation gets passed, somebody will call my show and say, how do they do this? I said, because they can do it until we fight it in court. And if it wasn't for groups like Phillips and Gun Owners of America and the NRA standing up and being ready to take these cases and write these cases so that when they get to the Supreme Court, when the rocket docket in the Fourth Circuit says, oh, no, and when it gets to the Supreme Court, it is buttoned down and they have no choice but seeing the right and seeing the rights and backing us up. I think there's at least 10,000 people here today, maybe 8. There's 12,000 dead Iranians today. You know what those Iranians wanted to do? Enact change in their government. Do you know why they're dead today? Because they don't have a Second Amendment over there. Martin Luther King Jr. on the night before he was assassinated gave a wonderful speech in which he talked about First Amendment infringements, that China and Russia didn't hold true to them because they weren't part of their foundation over there. But somewhere I read the right of the people to keep and bear arms is the one way to control a tyrannical government. Somewhere I read that your right to privacy is irresolute. Somewhere I read your right to own private property, and all of them are protected by your Second Amendment rights. So you keep supporting the Virginia Citizens Defense League, because what's happening in Iran right now is what will happen if we let our Second Amendment rights slip through our hands. Because humans have been through this before. We have allowed our liberty to slip away through apathy, and then tyranny comes in to supplant the apathy. And then the only way to overthrow the tyranny is what they're doing in Tehran right now. Don't let it happen. The reason we have the Second Amendment is so that we will be the first place in the history of mankind to not fall prey to that cycle. Are we going to allow that cycle to run through the United States? A lot of people have made jokes about how cold it is. I thought about how cold and snowy it was at Valley Forge when George Washington was told by General von Steuben, you don't have to win the war. This is your country. They're the invading army. We just have to keep not losing. That's what we have to do. Every time another governor comes in, every time another General Assembly comes on, we just have to keep not losing. You know why? Because gun rights are workers' rights. You know who said that? Karl Marx said that. I just learned that this morning. In a speech he gave in 1850, he said the workers have to keep their gun rights in order to fight tyranny. And I'll bet you none of you expected to hear a Karl Marx quote when you got here today. What saves lives? Guns. Who protects your gun rights?
We do.
And we need you to vote. Last point, 26% of Virginia decided who's in those buildings because only 52% of us turned out to vote. They win when they don't have to get the majority of the people. So please, we've got midterm elections coming. We've got constitutional amendments coming in April that might have a big impact on those. You have to turn out and vote. Thank you. God bless America. God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia. And God bless the VCDL. Thank you, sir.
So why are guns frightening? Because so few of us interact with them. Cars are dangerous. They're 2,000 pounds of steel flying through space and time, often right at you on a corner, yet we're not frightened of the existence of cars. We don't concern ourselves with who gets the right to drive a car or not, because we all interact with them. And perhaps if all of us spend a little bit more time interacting with firearms and understanding our Second Amendment, we'd be as vehement a defender of it as we are our First Amendment right to associate with our friends freely and to gather, even to address the government for a redress of our grievances. I want to thank you for watching. You can find me on Twitter at JTITM, as well as on Facebook at Seville Joe Thomas. You can listen to more of these videos at any time, and you can find us weekday mornings 5 until 9 on our flagship station, WTONradio.com, or through any of the Talk Media Network stations that carry our show. You can find a full list at joethomasinthemorning.com.